We're back. And I'm about to play my game again. What did we do last episode? We got off the boat, we learned we were a photographer. And then we talked to Frida, and she told us to go talk to her husband. So, I guess that's what we're going to do now. Continue. Look at that. Working save system. You have no idea how difficult that was to get working. I think like 90% of the bugs in this game were related to the save system. But it was worth it. Alright, let's continue. At the general store. That was a very bad stutter. Saloon. Church. But we're going to the general store because we're doing the vanilla playthrough. The man sitting out front watches you as you approach. He doesn't bother to hide his look of disdain. Right, this is the dude who didn't wave to us earlier. Must be Frida's husband. Smile at him. I think he's not going to smile back. Yeah, why didn't he wave to us? Gene, is that right? Is there a reason you didn't return my greetings earlier? My reason? I gotta have a reason. It's probably my favourite character portrait in the game just because he just looks very, very annoyed. Perfectly fits his character. And kind of, if you read the subtitle, Gene the Shit Stain, you get a pretty clear idea of what sort of person he's about to be. Getting a closer look at this man, you realise he could probably snap you in half. Antagonising him will only end badly. Ah, that's boring. Are you just going to stand there? Or do you got a reason to be bothering me? Right, why are we here again? Let's just explain our job. I'm a photographer. I'm just going around introducing myself. Why should I care about that? This is a general store. Are you buying? Yeah, what do we want? I don't know, what do you got? Food, booze, clothing. If you ain't buying, then fuck off. He's a very easy character to write for, looking back on it. It's just the most unpleasant person you can imagine. There's zero nuance. Well, there actually is a bit of nuance, but I won't tell you why. It's freezing. Let's see if he has a coat. I could really use a coat. Have you got one? And this is the... Depending on how you play the game, this coat can be a very big factor in how things play out, but I'm gonna, like I said, I'm doing the vanilla playthrough, so I won't do any like weird choices. I'll just play the critical path. I do. You got money for it? You don't. What sort of money do they even use here? I was just going to call it dollars, but then I was like, oh, well, people might think it was the US. And I've had a lot of instances of people thinking it's the US already, so probably good that I didn't use dollars there. Oh, hi, Frida. Give him a coat, Gene. He'll freeze to death if you leave him without one. And another thing with the UI that took me forever to get working with them stacking on top of each other when there's multiple people. This was like, getting the UI to look what it looks like right now wasn't the difficult part, it was getting it to not be a buggy piece of shit. But we got there in the end. Frida is down by the water watching you. Gene's gaze pierces your skull. He doesn't seem to take any notice of Frida's suggestion. Well, stay away from my wife, you got it? I got it, or did he think I'm trying to fuck his wife? No. I mean, we just got here. I think he might be reading into it too much. I got it. You really got it? No, we'll leave it on the table. Gene still has that look on his face. That look being the one you see in his portrait. Back to the coat, please. You'll get your damn coat. He gets out of his chair and walks into the store behind him. You stand there waiting. I'm sorry about him. Well, it's not her fault that he's a prick. Yeah, the first option's a bit too... like, just get a house. Keep quiet. You stand there awkwardly, unsure how to respond. Gene returns from inside the store with a coat in his hand and Frida walks off to sit by the ocean. Here's your coat, and fuck off. You are now in possession of one fluffy coat. Wear it with pride. I'll thank him, I don't want to piss him off anymore. Thanks, Gene. Give you a grunt and that's that. You take the steps off the front porch of the store. Frida is still by the rocks, staring out to sea. You get the impression she spends a lot of time there. As you walk past, she turns and gives you a smile. You return it. You've got a coat. Now it's high time you got to move on. There's an entire world out there waiting to be photographed. That is correct. Right. There is a very long conversation in this saloon. And same goes for this priest who's in the church. Spoilers. I'm not going to play those because I'm just going to play the critical path. So I'm going to leave town and boom. You walk up the hill away from the church. Behind you the town of Cascade sits still. Snow begins to fall from the clouds above. This is an excellent opportunity for a photograph, right? I like the snow in this shot. Particle systems are very easy in Unity, and they add a lot to the scene, especially here. Makes it look very cold. Pull your camera out of its case and unfold the tripod. The wind almost blows everything over as you slide the dry plate into position. After a bit of adjusting, everything is ready. As the dry plates were explained last episode. Old photography. Old photography was very long and boring. Take the photo. Off comes the landscape. You sit and wait for the image to expose, carefully holding the tripod steady in the breeze. Your fingertips yearn for the warmth of a coat's pocket. Suddenly, a woman steps into frame. Don't move, don't say a thing. Louise! This is like the best character in the game, in my opinion. But I won't say any more than that because spoilers. She has a gun and she's pointing it at us. That was like the first character I thought of was, or the first image I thought of for this game was taking a picture of someone holding a gun in your face. It's kind of like that, the Goodfellas ending with Joe Pesci, like shooting the gun at you, which was based on like an even older Western thing, but it's just a fun image. Which also, now that I think about it, doesn't really make sense in the context of this era of photography because she would have to be standing perfectly still, which I doubt she was. But rule of cool, rule of cool. He has a gun, do what she says. Nod, speak. The picture is ruined. Oh, it looks alright. Let's just nod, be normal. The woman before you steps forward and inspects your camera. The gun stays directly pointed at your face. You place the cap back on the lens and hope she doesn't notice. You're a long way from home. She turns to face you. Got any money on you? We are poor, but our soul is rich. That's like pure Disco Elysium. Our soul is rich. In spirit. I'll take that as a no. Where are you going? Everywhere, that's none of her business, who knows? Originally all these choices were like north, south, in, east, or I don't know. And then I realised it doesn't really matter which you choose, so I just made them more vague. I'm going everywhere. I'm going to be travelling all around the continent. I'm a photographer. Stop. I don't want your life story. Whatever you were going to do, cancel that. You're coming with me up north. It's already pretty cold, so I'm imagining north must be very cold. Maybe she'll lower the gun if I ask, where does she intend on taking me? Where exactly are you going? To Coffin Town. I've got some business there. Coffin Town. We'll get to Coffin Town later, but I just like saying the name. What does any of that have to do with you? Right? Why is she taking us? Why do you need me to come with you? You know. Classic, you know. You don't know. You're afraid to press the matter any further. I'll be honest with you. Why is she still pointing the gun at you? Are you about to die? I'm a little new to this whole outlaw thing. One slip of the finger and you're dead. That's all that stands between you and the great unknown. It isn't easy being on the run all the time. What would your last words have been when you're leaving behind? Oop, that's why I'll go north, away from civilization. Did you contribute anything to society? Will the world be any worse when you're gone? There's less people out there, and I've heard the people who are there keep their mouths shut. I think that's my safest bet. Would anyone even care if you died? What do you think? If you could do it all over again, would you be someone different? Wait a minute. Are you in there? You open your eyes. The gun isn't pointed at your head. I asked, what do you think? Yeah, what was that all? We're having a bit of a moment there. This whole section of you, like, having your life flash before your eyes. I think that's like one of the first things I wrote. This is the second conversation in the game I wrote. And it's also one of the things I didn't change. Because I rewrote like loads of this game. Just because, you know, I'd done hardly any writing before I started this game. So a lot of the stuff I wrote really early on was like terrible. And I mean, I don't know if you can tell the difference between early writing and later writing, but we'll see. What was that all about? Why the hell are you pointing a gun at me? I was trying to make sure you wouldn't run off. Seems like it worked. She's crazy. Why didn't she just talk to you? Yes, use your words. You would have spoken to me like a normal person. Didn't know who I was sneaking up on. Well, I know, you could have been a lawman. The gun is just a security measure. People tend to show their true nature when they have the barrel of a revolver pointed directly at their forehead. None of this is adding up, right? I need some more information. This doesn't make sense. Well, I just told you we're headed north to Coffin Town. Are you even listening? We were having our life flash before our eyes, so we didn't really hear her. Your task is too important to be jeopardized, or you're listening, you just don't understand. Are we really that dedicated to the job that we're going to risk getting shot? Yeah, we're listening, we just don't get it. How can I be of any use to you? I'm not even from this continent. What if I don't want to go with you? Oh, careful now. You're going with me because I have a gun. That's how this whole thing works. When you put it like that, that's my reasoning. Taking you with me because I need to blend in. With you by my side, I'm about to draw far less attention. No one should suspect someone of your nature of you harbouring a wanted criminal. Yeah, what the hell does that mean? What is my nature? Elaborate, please. You look high class. Like you keep your nose out of trouble. Like you wouldn't hurt a fly. The type of person who doesn't associate with scum like me. Are we dirty or are we just not high class? We aren't high class. I'm a working class artist. I don't have any money. Facts. The camera of yours probably costs more than most people earn in a year. Don't kid yourself. Also true. He's right, you really are kidding yourself. Alright. Why are we going north though? Isn't there somewhere else? North is the only option. Western we're swimming. Eastern we're in the wilderness. South and I'm in big trouble. Oh, I'm just noticing a grammar error. Forgot to put a quotation mark at the end. No, whatever. Trouble? What sort of trouble? The sort of trouble that gets you publicly executed. Oh. Maybe she killed someone. Well, is she a murderer or is she not a murderer? I think she is a murderer because I've read the game and I know. Murder. Bingo. I wonder who she murdered. Alright, we can continue trying to whiz our way out of this, or we can bargain, or we can accept our fate. Accept our fate. Fine, I'll go with you. Great. Yeah. She glances to your camera sitting on its tripod, then back to you. Don't look so dejected. Hey, if it makes you feel better, you can still do your photography thing while you're with me. You just have to do as I say. Really isn't that bad. Maybe she's right. How are you going to explain this when you get back home? If you get home at all. I may have a gun, but I want this little relationship of ours to be based on mutual respect. Look at me as your bodyguard. If you'd gone out into the world alone, you probably would have wound up. Her voice trails off. In a bad way. I won't go into detail. Let's get those details because I'm a sucker for gory stuff. I would like more detail, please. If you say so. She takes a moment to collate all these terrible things in her mind. You'd end up hung by your feet just low enough to the ground so the coyotes can get at your face. It's a popular one the Lottie gang use on strangers. Serves as a warning or something. There's your usual robbers and thieves, who are likely to shoot you in the head, which isn't so bad all things considered. The Lottie gang. That's, you'll hear more about that later. But I like the name Lottie from that Nick Cave song, The Curse of Millhaven. Literal Lottie, who is a 14-year-old murderer. Which Lottie in this game is not a 14-year-old murderer, but you'll find out later. Came across a body in a ditch one day that was missing his scalp. Not pretty. What else? Oh, I've heard of a gang near Hat Stand. They have a penchant for amputations. They hang the limbs from the trees around town. Alright, there's multiple things there. Scalping, which people point to like blood meridian, but I mean scalping was just a thing in real life. But yeah, blood meridian. And Hat Stand. There's a lot of funny names in this game, or funny names for towns, which I got from like, if you like look at a map of America and you look at all these weird small towns, there is a lot of weird names. I think this is like especially in like Nevada, there's like a town called Jackpot, and a town, what is it called, Truth or Consequences, which was like named after a game show, but all these really weird names for towns that have no right being a name for a town, but you know, who cares what the name is as long as it sounds cool. And I went with Hat Stand for one of the names of the towns. I guess Coffin Town's pretty weird as well. Some people like to talk about a band of giant, hairless men that gather around Phantom Canyon. They say they're cannibals or something. I'm skeptical on that one though. Yeah, that's a bit weird. Got the name Phantom Canyon. Another name I just got from like looking at a map of America. Phantom Ranch. Phantom Ranch. It's just a place I found. I think it's like near the Grand Canyon. I'm like, damn, that's a really good name for a place. So I merged the two into Phantom Canyon. I enjoy naming things. I might enjoy naming things more than I like writing. If only there was a job for naming things. I could keep going, but I'm sure you get the point. That point being that you'll be far better off with me by your side. Yeah, I guess they're cannibals out there. She could still kill you. Yeah, she's been pointing a gun at us in that picture for a while. Now, compelling argument. Maybe you have a point. Glad you've come around. Do you roll over for every beautiful woman who waves a gun at you? I mean, well, put your camera away. We need to get going. Yeah, I want to know more about her. Does anyone know where you are right now? By anyone, I'm assuming you mean the men who are after me. Well, I can't be certain, but it would be safe to assume that yes, they know the general direction I've headed. Yeah, why is she going north then? What's that going to do? So why would going north dissuade the people from following you? For starters, the weather isn't particularly hospitable. There's also a sheriff up there who most people tend to avoid, even other lawmen. The sheriff. We'll get there later. Bullshit. Well, he can't be that bad. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he is that bad, but we'll say he can't be that bad. I'm having a hard time believing that. Trust me on this one. He isn't the type of person you want to run into. Probably think I'm the worst person in the world right now. But I do what I do out of necessity. This sheriff is worse. Far worse. That sheriff sounds like someone worth talking to. Or is it? Mo problems. Yeah, more problems. You're running from one problem to another. One man I can deal with. Every lawman in Big River, not so much. Now stop talking, we need to go. Let's put that camera away. The woman watches as you fold the tripod up and place the camera in its case. By the way, my name is Louise. I think we gathered that from her name appearing in the text already, but it's something like I dwelled on for a while was a lot of the characters don't tell you their name until late in the conversation, but you already know their name because of like their subtitle, and it becomes hard. Like you want to like keep their name a secret, but what do you call them? And up until their name is a secret. So for Louise, I think it was just woman with a gun for a while, but then it was like really, it was kind of janky and not very good. So I just had them, their name appeared at the very start, no matter what, and you just had to imagine that the main character didn't know that. That's a very small issue, and I don't think anyone gives a shit. Act cool or say nothing. Pleased to make your acquaintance. You ready? Let's go. She grabs you by the shoulders and turns you north. You notice the snow has stopped. Yes, it has. Walk that way. I'll be right behind you. Onward you march. Yeah, you're going to have problems in this game if you don't know which way north is. Because if I start going this way. Yeah, you need to know your cardinal directions. This is south, but let's pretend it's north. Yeah, Louise doesn't like that. What do you think you're doing? Yeah, is this north? I never got taught that in school. I go where the wind takes me. Following the road. Didn't you listen to a word I said? We need to head north, not south. Don't try and play dumb with me. Apologize. Yeah, I don't want to get shot. Sorry, I just lost my bearings. God. See those mountains over there? No, but you'll have to imagine them. She points to the east. Keep those on your right and keep walking. It's as simple as that. Aye, Captain. I can do that. Good. I don't pull anything like that again. Mutual respect, remember that. But people tell me that they would like to just get shot there. Like if you do the wrong thing, if you don't do what she says, you just die. Which would be funny, but it would be kind of a bad way to get people to play your game if they just die there and then stop playing altogether. I'd rather them experience the rest of the story. So I have to basically force you into not trying to die by just giving them that one dialogue option. You can come pretty close to dying at a few points, but you never actually die just because, well, I don't actually know if you die, but you can't die in the middle of the game. You always have to get to the ending. Alright, we're going to the river. You approach a river. By judgment, it's close to 50 meters wide. The path you've been following for the last few hours drops into the water and re-emerges on the other side. It's impossible to tell the depth. Louise appears beside you and stops. Crooked River. It starts somewhere in the vale and runs west to the ocean, just like every other river in this place. It's another one of my weird interests. I'm like, just as a side effect of looking at a lot of maps, I'm also looking at a lot of rivers from like a satellite view. And it's fun seeing where they all start and where they all end up. Spoiler, they all end up in the ocean. And yeah, I kind of injected that into this game because it's fun to write about things, you know. And this is my self-insert moment where I talk about rivers. Yeah, what about the other rivers, Reese? What about the other rivers? What other rivers are there around here? I'm something of a river fan. This dude is literally me. Oh, really? Well, a couple hours north of here is Jamison River. It's relatively tame compared to this one, so we shouldn't have much trouble crossing. Branches off Crooked River a little further upstream. Jamison River, or actually no, Crooked River, is a place in Victoria where I live. Victoria, Australia. I don't think it's actually a river. I think the river is called like something else, like the Wanangata River or something. But on the map you look, it says Crooked River, probably because some like old prospector just named it that. But that's where I got the name, and I think it fits. You know, it looks pretty crooked. And Jamison, that's like the name of a town somewhere in the Australian mountains that I went to when I was like really young. That's my story. Go look for it. There's a little random stuff up in the high country of Victoria. Even further north, by Coffin Town, is the Icy River. I've heard some people call it Styx on account of the bodies that float down semi-regularly. Shout out Percy Jackson for teaching me that. Or maybe it was Hades. One of the two. More river facts, Louise. I lied. I fucking love rivers. Give me more river information. Okay then. South by the city of Big River is, well, Big River branches out to a huge delta just before reaching the sea. In the other direction, it goes all the way up past Hatch and then into the mountains, as you could have guessed. I could have guessed. A lot of traffic on it as well, mainly from Last Hope. Gold shipments from all the mines. Quite a smart system, given the gangs of the area have yet to discover an easy way to rob a boat. There isn't enough river information, Louise. More. That might be all the rivers there are in this place. Or at least the only rivers drawn on the map I used to own. It was a very old map now that I think about it. And that is... the map she's talking about is the map you're walking on right now. Which isn't actually obvious, but that's what's being implied. And that's my excuse for it looking very amateurish. There's got to be more rivers out there, surely. Sure there is. Back to the problem. I think I've had enough. What's the plan for getting across this river in front of us? If we had a horse, this might be easier. We don't though. So I suggest you take off your clothes. Ugh. What's that face for? No, or stop making that face and do what she says. Oh, I forgot another. I knew I was going to find a lot of grammar errors and like punctuation stuff I missed. And it's starting to really annoy me. I need a full stop there. Oh, whatever. I'm not going to update the game just for that. Yeah, I don't think I want to take my clothes off. It's kind of cold. I'm not taking my clothes off. Can't afford to get a clothes wet. That's how you freeze and die. This requires further explaining. Getting naked in sub-zero temperatures sounds worse than wet clothes. Let's let her explain. What do you mean? Wet clothes won't keep you warm. And in this climate, they won't dry for days. I don't know where I learned that. Probably Bear Grylls. I think it's true. I didn't actually research that. But I imagine getting wet clothes would be bad. She's obviously done this before. Keep your shoes and drawers on. Everything else, bundle it up. Things are heating up here. You're about to undress in close to sub-zero temperature. You sure you don't want to make a run for it right now? Seems to have let her guard down a bit. I don't think I ever clarify if it's Fahrenheit or Celsius, but that would imply, I don't know if Fahrenheit or Celsius were like people, but it would imply the people who came up with them exist, so I just never used it. Man, world building is hard. I can tell you're thinking about something. If that something is how you plan to escape, don't bother. I'm a pretty good shot. She pulls out a revolver just as a reminder. I mean, it's been in the picture for a while, so we didn't forget. Is she a good shot? You haven't actually seen her fire yet. Watch this. She points her revolver to the sky. You look in the direction she's pointing the gun. A bird flies into view. Oops, sound effects. Yeah, I've got the game very quiet just because, well, it would like overpower my talking. The sound of the gun firing fills the air. The bird you are watching goes limp and drops down from the sky. Down, 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 and into the water with a tiny splash. Stand in shock as the avian corpse floats down the river past you. That's pretty impressive. In case you were doubting. I don't know how easy it would be to shoot a bird out of the sky with a revolver. I'm doubting. I'm imagining not very easy. But hey, this is my world. Reality is what I make it, and Louise is a good shot. Perhaps it would be a bad idea to try and run away. Yeah. Come on, take your clothes off. Don't have all day. There's another... That scene can play out differently depending on what happens earlier in the game. I won't tell you what happens, but I'll spoil it a little bit. She's already... Some things can happen in the town that show you how good of a shot she is. So you don't have to watch her shoot a bird. We'll go for the animal cruelty-free playthrough next time. Alright, we'll get around dressing. You take everything but your shoes and drawers off, then wrap it all up inside the fur jacket you got from Jean. This is the coldest you've ever been. Every gust of wind is like a knife to your skin. Louise is undressed as well. Whatever you do, don't look at her, not even in her general direction. You ready? Get into that water and keep your footing. A lot of people, when they played this section, they seem kind of surprised that like we were like getting naked. Which I feel like that's like something that's exclusive to games, because if you read this in a book you wouldn't second guess it, or even if you saw this in a movie you just like, yeah, whatever. But because it's a game, people have like weird expectations for writing in games when it comes to like adult content, and like you have like really big games that kind of surpass circumvent this, like Cyberpunk or something. But for smaller games, unless it's like a really like raunchy visual novel, don't get like super adult content. And this isn't even that adult content now that I think about it, but it will get adult content later. It gets kind of violent, but I wish more games would be like that, where they just take themselves way more seriously, or they don't hold back when it comes to like adult themes and adult content. Because I mean, I think especially for indie games, I think like the majority of the people playing are probably adults, so I see no reason to be reserved in your writing. Anyway, I don't think that makes any sense, but in short, I want more naked people in my indie games. Alright, back to the game. You ready? Get into that water and keep your footing. Slowly you edge closer to the water. One more step and you'll be in it. Hold your clothes above your head. You lift your arms skyward. The camera case is also part of your bundle, so it takes some effort to get everything up there. Take small steps. I'll be right behind you. In we go. Place your left foot into the water. Every muscle in your body contracts. A little pace, please. Take another step, then another. Slowly you descend into the depths of the river. It isn't enjoyable, but you think you'll make it. After a few meters, the river stops getting deeper. The water is up to your chest. The hard part is over. Now all you have to do is walk straight. Sure. That's exactly what you do. The current pushes you toward the ocean and it takes all your strength to keep upright. One slip and you'll lose everything. Below your feet lie countless stones, each one covered in a slimy residue that makes getting a good foothold next to impossible. By the time you've made it halfway across the river, the cold is a distant memory. Every fibre of your being is focused on keeping that precious camera above the waterline. After what feels like an eternity, make it to the other side of the river. Take some effort to pull yourself out of the water without dropping everything in your hands, but you manage. Louise was right behind you the whole time. You sit down on the embankment, catching your breath. No time to rest. Put your clothes on. You need to light a fire. Straight to it. Louise walks right past you up the embankment. You drag yourself up off the dirt and follow. Tell you what the worst feeling in the world is? If you've been to if you go swimming in a river, or even like the beach, and then when you get out of the river or the water, and you're on like the edge where it's all like muddy and dirty, or it's dry dirt especially, that's awful. Because your wet feet and like walking around in the dirt, it's just, ugh. I guess the beach isn't that bad because it's sand, but when it's dirt, it's just awful, and you need to that's the feeling I'm trying to emulate right now when you're getting out of this river. It sucks. In front of her is a lone tree. It's been dead a long time. Surrounding its roots are numerous twigs, brittle and grey. There's another shot that I like very much. Just very nice framing with like the trees in the background. That was accidental because originally, to like late into development, these like pine trees didn't exist. It was just this tree alone. But these add a lot to the shot, and it's kind of like a nice bit of depth with the fog in the background. It's kind of like fake depth of field. There is no depth of field in this game, but I think like the fog in the background helps make this shot a lot nicer. Also with the particles, which a lot of people have asked, what the hell are those particles? And the answer is, I have no idea. Originally I was trying to like make like wind, like white, kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, with like the white wind blowing you in a direction, but they ended up really looking awful with like the color scheme I was going for, so I just turned them into like black, like those things that there's like the blood vessels in your eye or something when you look and it's not there, but they don't have to have a reason. Take your shoes off and leave them by the tree, then go and find some firewood. Be quick. Louise just put a dress back on and began gathering small twigs to find some firewood. After taking your shoes off, you survey the area. There's a dead tree under which Louise is building a pile of sticks. Behind is the river you just crossed, running toward the ocean aimlessly. You spy a forest to the east, maybe a 15-minute walk away. The path you've been following snakes off north into the rolling plains. All that's here is dirt and grass. You head back to the river in search of driftwood. Upon looking over the embankment, you find a dead branch that washed ashore. The sight of this branch stirs something in you. Oh. Should we grab it? Should we look for something smaller, or should we grab onto that emotion that we're feeling? If you don't pick the third option, well, I don't know what to say. Yeah, well, our brain is saying, it's nothing, stop feeling. This branch, it's all alone, separated from its family, washed up on a riverbank. It makes me feel... Oh god. Stop anthropomorphizing. It's a stick, soon to be ashes. I'm trying to be profound, don't you understand? Profound thoughts won't get you anywhere. Profound words spoken from your mouth, now that's an idea. I think my brain is onto something here. Saying profound words is a lot harder than thinking profound things. What if people don't understand my profound words? Well, yeah, saying profound words is a lot harder. And look at me right now, I'm just rambling half the time. Doesn't matter, just say random shit, people will find their own meaning, it's easy. Just gotta say it with confidence. Then it's time to be profound, really profound. Back to reality, you're looking at a branch. A dead branch. No thoughts enter your mind, no feelings shake you. Random detail, the clouds in the background. They add a lot to the scene. You can't tell, or you probably say, no, they don't, they're barely noticeable, but without them, this scene is very boring. And it took forever. I think it's literally just like a big sphere attached to the player object that like follows them around. Which means if the camera turns, the clouds turn. But you won't even notice it, so it doesn't matter. Alright, let's grab the branch. Slide down the embankment and grab the end of the branch and drag it back up to Louise. By this point, she's manufactured a small fire and is prodding at it with a stick. One of life's great pleasures, poking a fire with a stick. Give her the branch. How the hell would she light that fire? Say something profound. Yeah, we're saying something profound. Rivers are the veins of the earth. What? Sorry, I'm laughing at my own jokes here. It's not that funny. I just haven't read it in a while. We're saying it again. Rivers are the veins of the earth. Did you think of that yourself? Yes, it was me. Yes, Louise, I did. Maybe think a little harder next time. Idiot. Louise stares at you, waiting. Well, that went well. I think the most enjoyable parts of the games are like talking to your brain. Because your brain is basically a different person. It's very, I guess, not realistic. Because, well, I hope it's not realistic. Maybe it is, but having two different people, like you have your own consciousness and you have your brain's consciousness, just like hyping you up to say profound stuff and then immediately calling you an idiot. I think that's a very fun dynamic. Here's some wood. Yeah, forget about what I said earlier. Great, bring it here. You hand the branch off to her. It's far too big for the little fire she's made. Could have found something a bit... never mind, can't be too picky. She props the branch up on one of the dead tree's roots so that it sits slightly above the ground. Then, after taking a step back, she jumps onto the branch with all her weight. Snap. Brutal snapping sound breaks the silence. The one branch has now become two branches. Simple math. Voila. She throws the two pieces of wood into the flames. For a few minutes you stand there in silence, waiting for the fire to heat up. Put your shoes next to the fire. They aren't going to dry if you leave them over there. You completely forgot about the shoes. Louise grabs them for you and places them by the fire. You take a seat on a tuft of grass. Ooh, look at those particles. I think that was like something I added for the Steam release. Like the only thing I added for the Steam release. So yeah, you're getting something special there. Your legs still frozen? Mine are. Your legs are beyond frozen. Just throw them out by the fire. Not too close though. You'll burn them without even realizing. That's another thing. These are all like just weird, or like what do people do when they're really cold? I think I've like watched too many YouTube videos, but I probably should have done more research on this from like actual sources. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, when you can't feel anything, people like burn their hands really badly because they don't realize, like, that's why we have pain receptors and nerves and stuff, is so we can realize when we're burning our skin. But when they're frozen, you don't realize you're burning your skin. Point your feet toward the fire. There isn't even a hint of sensation or feeling. For a short while, Louise and you just sit there in front of the fire, the sound of crooked river in the background. The moment passes where you forget you're being held hostage. What's your name? He's the first person to bother asking that. Odd. Yeah, what is our name? We've come this far and we haven't actually got a name yet. Everyone just calls us, I think someone called us Picture Man. We are the photographer. Which is similar, almost the same as the protagonist. Which, I mean, let's actually have a name now. Elijah, Gabriel, Martin, Carl, Harley. Keep it a secret. These are all like the most like Anglican names ever. But I guess Carl is kind of German. I don't know what Harley is. This is very hard. I'm not actually like coming up with all these names that you just have like like Bible names, like James, John, Matthew. Who was the fourth one? Anyway, I don't know. I think if you read into these names, you can kind of get an idea of where the protagonist in this game is from, which is to say Europe and like Western Europe, maybe the UK, or like this world's version of the UK. We are Carl today. Carl, nice name. Thanks, Louise. Yeah, what's her name? Is it really Louise? What about you? Is your name really Louise? No. Call it an outlaw pseudonym. Can't have people know my real name, can we? No, you can't. Could you at least tell me? Yeah, we're like best friends now. Not a chance. And to be honest, I'm a much bigger fan of Louise than whatever the hell my parents chose for me, so I might just stick with it. It's like a famous actor just changing her name because it's cool. Your feet finally begin to regain their feeling. Let's enjoy the silence. Fire spits embers into the sky. You watch one float away, then lose it as the light is snuffed out by some spectral hand. Louise is eerily still, staring off into the distance. The dead tree creaks as the wind blows in from the sea. In the distance, a wolf howls. You feel entirely alone on this vast continent. Let's break the silence because we're getting a little sad right now. Take it you've been across this river before. That's right, but no further, unfortunately. Everything north of here is a mystery to me, outside what I've heard in stories. I came up here a few years back with my then husband. He fancied himself a bit of a hunter, so he dragged me along with him out into the wilds. We followed a stag for days, before giving up under this tree here. Waste of fucking time if you ask me. Oh no. Husband? Where does he fit into this? Where's your husband now? Oh. She smirks. He's not around. That is a suspiciously vague answer, Louise. Should we nod? Should we... Yeah, she is implying it's a good thing that he's not around. Or should we just go, yeah, he's dead. Yeah, he's dead. He's definitely dead. So what you're saying is he's dead. I am. His corpse is lying at the bottom of the gorge, where it belongs. Well, the obvious question here is, did she kill him? Not exactly. Someone did it for me. Then pinned it on me. Still, he got what he deserved. Jesus. You get the impression that she's murdered people that weren't her husband. Since I think you deserve it, I'll offer you an explanation. My husband was a gambler, a drinker, and an all-round piece of shit. One day he comes home, drunk as ever, tells me he'd lost our ranch at a game of poker. Said he'd had a run of bad luck, but his time was coming. By that point in our relationship, I was just about ready to leave, and this pushed me over the edge. Packed my things, walked out the front door and headed to our stable so I could get my horse. Can you guess what my husband did? Your mind produces no answers. I mean, I could answer it, but I won't answer it for dramatic effect. I'll answer that for you. He shot my horse. He knew I'd try to leave after he told me what happened, so he did the only thing he could think of to get me to stay. She stares into the fire for a moment. I love that horse, more than I loved anything else in this world, and he just killed her. Upon seeing this terrible sight, I went back inside, grabbed my husband's revolver from the drawer he hid it in, then used it to put a bullet in each of his kneecaps. After that, I left the ranch for good. In the city, I heard that my dear husband had ended up at the bottom of a gorge nearby. Some kids looking for their dog found him there in the rocks. Seems like he wasn't overly cooperative with the people he'd lost the ranch to. Of course, the man he'd lost the ranch to turned out to be the mayor of Big River. Bad news for me, especially when I saw a wanted poster with my name on it. and a $5,000 reward, dead or alive. I was just talking about how I didn't use dollars earlier, but then I just used dollars there, so I guess we're doing dollars now. She shifts her gaze back to you. I've killed before, in self-defense. That's how it is in these parts. But I didn't murder my husband. So the mayor killed him. I mean, she did put 2 bullets in his kneecaps. But this is like the Wild West, so if we're applying the standards of that era. Dilemma. Yeah, the mayor killed him. Him or one of his cronies. Either way, he was the one who pinned it on me. And that's how she ended up here. Now you're here, with me for some reason. Told you why I needed you. You're helping me blend in. A woman wandering the wilds by herself stands out like the full moon on a clear night. The wanted posters also specified that I would be alone. Have I explained that well enough for you? It's really hard to pick a side in this game because I know where every choice goes. Like if I hadn't played this would be perhaps more engaging for myself, but I'm just instinctively siding with Louise because I like writing her character. Not for like that's like a very literal reason to side with someone. Is if you were playing this yourself, you'd probably have your own reason, but for me, I think she's cool because I enjoyed writing her. Yeah, I get it. I get you, Louise. I'm a little more understanding of the situation now. I'm happy to hear that. Don't forget you're still a hostage. True, but hey, it's not that bad. Shouldn't hang around here too long. Would want to attract the attention of any resident undesirables. Who? Oh, profound. We've got to say something profound. We're all resident undesirables in the grand scheme of things. Maybe that's like a ecological message, you know? I won't say more than that. That was shit. Utter tripe. I mean, I wrote it, so I also wrote the shit part. This is getting very meta. Louise didn't even hear you say it. You glad? Yeah, what about the resident undesirables? Who are these resident undesirables you mentioned? The Lottie gang. Word is, they've migrated north. Of course, anything beyond here is uncharted territory for me. So I could be entirely wrong. Let's put your shoes back on and let's go. Little Lottie. Alright, let's get moving. You drag yourself up off the ground and yank your shoes onto your feet. They haven't entirely thawed out yet, but you keep that information to yourself. I'm realizing there's a lot of feet talk in this conversation. I realized that earlier as well, when I wrote the thing, I'm like, why am I talking about feet so much? So I cut out a lot of the feet references. This is all unintentional. I promise it was unintentional. But yeah, I had to cut out a lot of feet references and there's still a lot in the conversation. What are you going to do? Anyway, Louise walks off toward the path, turning back occasionally to make sure you're following. You are. Catch this. Louise throws something in your direction. Upon catching the object, you see it's a biscuit. Eat up. That's all you're getting for the next 4 hours. Thanks, Louise. Takes a total of 15 seconds to consume the biscuit. All eating it did was remind you of how hungry you are. Put it out of your mind and just follow the path. North you go into the unknown. We're free. Fun fact. I'm not going to play any further, but fun fact. You used to be able to get stuck right under this tree. Like when I released the Steam version. Literally the first bug someone found. I think was this bug had been there since the very start of the game basically. And somehow, nobody had found it. The second I released it on Steam, somebody found the bug immediately. And it's like, oh my god, I think I'm bad at bug testing. But nobody's found any bugs since, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Anyway, we'll leave it there because this is a long episode and my voice is getting sore. So, I'll see you next time, whenever that may be. Thanks.